Number 47. On the 20th of November 2010, in the small town of Herzen, a shocking discovery was made in the ruins of a destroyed house. Inside the basement, investigators found the body of a man, the remains of someone whose final moments seemed shrouded in mystery. He was believed to be Caucasian, between 40 and 49 years old, standing around 170 centimetres tall. Forensic examination revealed that he had damage to the front of his skull, an injury that had partially healed, along with several missing teeth. He was dressed in a lilac sweater, black work trousers, blue jeans, black boots and black socks. What happened to him in that basement remains uncertain, but the condition of the scene and the man himself suggested that whatever occurred, this hadn't been an accident. Number 46. On the 1st of January 2011, a man was found near garbage cans on Lermontov Street, brutally beaten with over 40 blows to his head and body. He later died in hospital, but no ID was found and his identity remained a mystery. 2 weeks later, police arrested Vladimir Byzylevsky, a homeless man whose clothes had blood on them. After being beaten and forced to confess, he claimed the victim was a friend named Andrei Tiger Byzylevsky, was convicted and sentenced to 4 years in prison. A year later, the truth came out. The blood wasn't his, and Tiger was still alive. Byzylevsky was cleared and an officer was convicted for falsifying evidence. Then the real killers were found. Atamanovsky and Nikita Lytkin confessed to the murder and several others. Between December 2010 and April 2011, they terrorized Irkutsk, killing 6 people and injuring 9, all driven by hate and the thirst for fame. In 2013, Anofriev was sentenced to life in prison and Lytkin received 20 years. What began as one unidentified victim led to the capture of 2 of Russia's most infamous teenage killers. Number 45. On the 24th of June 2011, a man whose decomposed severed head was found floating in the reservoir in the city of Krasnoyarsk. Few details are available in his case, but he was described as Caucasian. Number 44. On the 28th of June 2011, the body of a man was found on a street in the quiet village of Bochkarevra. He was Caucasian, between 45 and 50 years old, around 170 centimetres tall, with an average build and reddish hair turning grey. A few of his teeth had metal crowns and he had tattoos on both forearms. The man was dressed in a black sweater, grey t-shirt, black trousers, dark blue trousers and wore brown shoes. His cause of death was a traumatic brain injury, a brutal end in a small forgotten village. Number 43. On the 30th of June 2011, a man was dropped off at the City Clinical Hospital in Moscow. He was between 30 and 35 years old, around 176 centimetres tall, with dark hair and a dark moustache. Doctors noted a scar on his right temple and a tattoo on the back of his shoulder. He was dressed in blue jeans, a grey sweater, a turtleneck and black trainers. Medical staff discovered he had suffered a severe traumatic brain injury, a brain contusion and acute subdermal hematoma. Despite a week in intensive care, the man passed away on the 7th of July. To this day, no one knows who brought him to the hospital or what really happened to him. Number 42. On the 23rd of October 2011, skeletal remains were discovered washed ashore on the left bank of the Nizhny Atamanovsky island. The remains belonged to a man, and around his neck was a noose, a chilling sign of how he may have died. The only item found with him was a small laminated photograph measuring 67 by 57 millimeters. It showed a young girl, and on the back, written in blue ink, were the words Dasha, 8 years old. The photo was dated 2001. Number 41. On the 24th of March 2012, the body of a man was found in a canal near Odessa in Russia. He was Caucasian, between 35 and 45 years old, standing around 160 centimetres tall, with an average build and a bald head. He was dressed in layers, a blue sports jacket, a blue t-shirt, blue sweater, and black sports trousers. No signs of who he was or how he ended up in the water. Number 40. On the 23rd of August 2012, skeletal remains were discovered in a forest along a highway outside Syktyvkar. The remains belonged to a Caucasian man aged between 45 and 50, standing around 175 to 177 centimetres tall, with light brown to reddish hair. He was dressed in a red and brown check shirt, dark blue trousers, a dark blue and green jacket, black rubber boots and a black belt. Investigators determined that his cause of death, a traumatic brain injury inflicted by another person, another life lost in the woods, and a killer who walked away unseen. Number 39. On the 7th of September 2013, a human skull was discovered deep in a forest near a small village in Moscow. It belonged to a Caucasian man, estimated to be between 35 and 45 years old. No name, no identity, only a skull and the mystery of who he once was. Number 38. On the 10th of November 2013, a man was discovered deceased near a residence in Voronezh. He appeared to be of Caucasian descent, aged between 55 and 60, with grey-blue eyes and dark brown hair that was beginning to grey and showed signs of thinning. Observations indicated that he was missing several teeth and bore 2 scars, one on his right elbow and another on his right forearm. At the time of his discovery, he was dressed in a burgundy hat, a synthetic jacket, a dark blue denim jacket, a black sweater, a black t-shirt, black trainers, light green denim trousers, and a light brown belt along with black socks and underwear. Additionally, keys and medical tablets were found in his possession. Number 37. On the 23rd of November 2013, a man's body was discovered in the basement of a residence, Gagarina Avenue. The deceased was identified as a Caucasian male aged between 50 and 60 years, with a height ranging from 169 to 173 centimetres. Notably, he had a missing front tooth, which would have been apparent during conversation or when smiling. At the time of his discovery, he was dressed in a jacket, green sports trousers and green socks. Number 36. On the 20th of December 2013, a man's body was discovered near the heating main and behind the garage of a house in Clara Zetkin Street in Penza. He was Caucasian, between 25 and 40 years, stood between 175 and 180 centimetres tall, of an average build, with light brown hair that had a reddish tint, grey or blue eyes and facial stubble that also had a reddish tint. It was noted that he had bald patches on his head and an oval birthmark on his right shoulder blade. He was discovered wearing a black rope necklace with a white metal cross, a short black coat, a white jumper, a blue shirt, light blue underwear, light blue jeans, a black belt, light blue long johns, black summer dress shoes and grey and black socks. He is reported to have sustained multiple stab wounds all over his body. Number 35. On the 30th of April 2014, the body of a slender Caucasian man was found in a roadside ditch obscured by branches and debris. The remains showed signs of partial burning and had been disturbed by animals, resulting in the loss of his hands, which the medical examiner attributed to scavenging. The estimated time of death was between the 6th and 20th of April, and the man appeared to be between 30 and 40 years old, wearing various layers of clothing, including black winter boots, multiple pairs of socks, and a grey metal Orthodox cross. Although the cause of death could not be established due to the condition of the body, Russian authorities treated the case as a murder and are suggesting that the individual may not have been a local resident of the Karelia Republic. Number 34. On the 19th of June 2014, the body of a man was discovered in the basement of a residence on Kornienko Street. He appeared to be between 60 and 70 years old, of Caucasian descent, and stood approximately 165 centimetres tall, with several missing teeth. At the time of his discovery, he was dressed in a light blue shirt, paired with a jacket that featured both light and dark blue colours. Number 33. On the 27th of July 2014, the remains of a man was discovered in a wooded area located 500 metres east of Taskino village. The deceased was identified as a Caucasian male, estimated to be between 25 and 30 years old, with a height ranging from 169 to 170 centimetres. He was found dressed in a black puffer jacket, dark sports trousers, a black or grey t-shirt, grey underwear and black trainers, highlighting the tragic circumstances surrounding his untimely death. Number 32. On the 10th of August 2014, a man was discovered deceased outside a residence in Novosibirsk. He was identified as Caucasian, standing at 168 centimetres tall, with a sturdy build, brown hair and blue eyes. Notably, he had only one tooth, which added to the peculiar details surrounding his identity. Investigators suspect foul play, believing he was murdered. Number 31. On the 19th of December 2014, skeletal remains of an unidentified man were discovered in a wooded area near the village of Kobilkino. The investigative committee of the Russian Federation for the Penza region has since opened a criminal case to delve into the circumstances surrounding this grim find. Preliminary investigations revealed that the remains belonged to a man of European descent, estimated to be between 40 and 50 years old, standing at approximately 175 to 180 centimetres tall. While experts have managed to reconstruct the likely appearance of the man during his life, his identity remains a mystery, leaving many questions unanswered. Number 30. On the 27th of July 2015, the remains of a man were discovered beneath a tree in a field located 2 kilometres from Rubilovo. He was identified as a Caucasian male, estimated to be between 40 and 50 years old, characterised by short, unkempt hair and a sparse moustache. At the time of his discovery, he was dressed in a beige jacket, a dark green sweater, light blue denim jeans, a black leather belt, dark socks and brown fur-lined boots. Number 29. On the 12th of August 2015, a tragic discovery was made near a highway where a man was found murdered just 10 metres from the road and 300 metres from a nearby wholesale and logistics centre in the village of Mytishchi. The victim, believed to be between 20 and 30 years old and standing at 174 centimetres tall, was dressed in a dark blue shirt, a dark t-shirt, dark blue jeans, underwear and grey socks. Investigators determined that he had been stabbed, leading them to suspect foul play in this heartbreaking incident. Number 28. On the 3rd of September 2015, the skeletal remains of a man were discovered floating in the river near Susuman. The individual was estimated to be between 31 and 45 years old, identified as Caucasian, and stood between 170 and 180 centimetres tall. Number 27. On the 16th of April 2016, the lifeless body of a newborn was discovered in a ravine within a forested area in Kazan. Russian investigators suspect that the child's mother is not originally from Tatarstan, raising concerns about the circumstances surrounding this tragic event. Number 26. On the 20th of April 2016, the charred remains of a man were discovered in a forest near Russian route R217 in Uspensky. He stood at 169 centimeters tall and was dressed in a black leather jacket, black jeans, a black shirt, a black sweater, a blue, green and white checkered shirt, and a beige and black striped t-shirt. A packet of cigarettes was found in his pocket. Investigators suspect foul play and believe he may have been murdered. Number 25. On the 16th of May 2016, a man was found washed up on an island in the Selenga River near the village of Sangun Usun. Estimated to be around 35 years old, he was dressed in a black leather jacket, a black t-shirt, a red t-shirt, grey jeans and brown trainers. Authorities discovered a Nokia phone featuring the Mongolian alphabet and a foreign SIM card among his belongings. Given his Asian descent, the proximity to the Mongolian border, just 20 kilometers away, and the nature of his personal effects, Russian officials suspect he was a Mongolian national who may have died in Mongolia before being carried to Russian shores. 24. On the 21st of June 2016, skeletal remains of a man were found in an abandoned building in the Republic of Karelia. The individual was estimated to be between 26 and 40 years old and measured approximately 168 to 175 centimeters in height. Distinctive features include a scar on the bridge of his nose and a rotated tooth. At the time of discovery, he was dressed in a grey jacket, a black sweater, dark blue sports trousers and black socks.